All right, so we are live for podcast number 24. We have, do you go by Tiffany Toller?
It's Tiffany Bailey.
Tiffany Bailey,
Yeah.
because you got the Tiffany Toller Bailey.
Yeah, so I kept my maiden name as like my middle name.
Okay, so people are more recognizable to you on social media probably. They're like, oh, that's Tiffany Toller now that she changed her name.
Yeah, so I kind of left it as like Tiffany Toller Bailey, so people can find me under either.
Gotcha. So I guess the biggest thing that you're doing right now is kind of teaching fitness classes. So what would you classify yourself as, like a personal trainer or instructor? Or?
Like a group fitness instructor. I'm working on like the general certification, but right now I'm certified in core to force specifically.
Okay. So do they call that anything specific, just a core to force instructor?
Yeah, so
Okay.
It's like a Beachbody Live format. So like
Okay.
the company that's P90X and Insanity, all of that.
Yeah, I think I tried Insanity.
Yeah.
I think I made it through 2 weeks.
That's better than most people.
But I'm always trying to gain weight, so that type of stuff doesn't really necessarily achieve exactly what I want.
Yeah.
So I always end up like seeing negatives on the scale, and I always go back to like trying more weightlifting stuff. So
Right.
So currently certified in core to force, and did you say that you're reaching out for another certification?
I'm working on the general like group fitness,
Okay.
so I can
Okay.
kind of teach about whatever I wanted to.
Okay. So do they have like Insanity formats and stuff like
They
that?
do, yeah.
Okay.
So
For specifically live. I assume,
yes.
right? Gotcha.
So the group fitness is like separate from that. That I could go to a gym and do any of their classes under their group fitness, and Beachbody does their own certifications for like the specific formats.
I would say that would probably be more beneficial to people, because I think that the number one kind of thing that discourages people away is not having like some type of support group behind it. I see like everybody fights popping up, and my wife is absolutely addicted to Cycle Bar and things like that.
Right.
Seems like the group is much more beneficial to get people involved and to make them feel like they're a part of something, and also to give them a little bit of accountability.
Yeah. That's the thing with like my fitness classes, like a group of them come together, there's like 6. So like when one misses, it seems like a few of them else like don't show up.
And the first thing you can do is sit there and pick up your phone and be like, hey, where you at?
You didn't come to class tonight.
So
Yeah.
I just remember I didn't mute my phone. But yeah, I would say that would be, because I know for me, that's like the hardest part, is that I can never get somebody to go with me all the time. So I kind of got to, make myself go. And it's just so much easier when you have a partner and you have that accountability and you get there and you do that stuff. And plus, I would say that through that whole process, people's bodies start to change, and you have that as well, the positive reinforcement of saying, hey, you look like you dropped a couple pounds here, or whatever the goals may be.
And that's really, what I enjoy is like seeing people get happier and more confident with themselves. When you show up for a couple weeks and you start losing weight and you start getting in shape, people really enjoy that, and it's for me like the most rewarding thing.
Oh yeah, I would say that's probably the main reason that you do that. I mean, is to provide some type of support system and let people know that their goals can be reached and achieved, and to show them that the results of that. I mean, it takes a lot of work.
It does.
I mean, it's not like it's just you're just going to walk in.
It doesn't happen overnight.
No. And those classes are hard. Like I did to go back to Insanity, and I'm sure that you can make it more difficult, right? Am I right in that assessment? Like, if there's an exercise that you have that's on the docket, I assume that you can kind of do whatever you want. Do you have the freedom to do that?
Kind of, yeah, and that's what I enjoy about my classes. Like, I kind of show like the most intense move, but then I break it down so everybody can kind of pick their part of the move that's like where they're at. So if you can't do a full burpee, you can step it out.
Yeah.
Take out the jump. Makes
sense. Something that I've tried to get into a little bit more, just to try to branch out in fitness, is I've started to do a little bit of yoga.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that that's something that they do in those classes. They're like, okay, if you can't get the full stretch or whatever here, you can do it this way and still achieve a certain amount of it, and then work your way up to that. So I guess I never really thought about it in that way. To me, I'm just sitting there thinking that you've got a core group of people that are coming back, and they reach a certain plateau, and you got to force them through that plateau, right?
Yeah, but you can always make it more intense, like you can break it down, you can also make it more intense.
Yeah, for sure. Longer, faster duration, whatever it may be. So
right.
That's really cool to think of it that way. I've seen the poster that you put out weekly for that and stuff like that, and I've wondered like how you format and stuff. Me and Dave probably need to take one, right, Dave?
Yeah, sure.
You guys should come try it out. We're there on Wednesday nights.
Okay, yeah. So we might try that. Cardio is really hard for me. So in addition to kind of teaching your classes, do you do anything else personally, or do you help anybody? I saw you one night at Planet Fitness, and it looked like you were like taking your dad through a routine.
He was taking me through a routine.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing.
Okay.
So I do home workouts. So that's the thing with Beachbody. On the other side of it is I'm a Beachbody coach. So I do home workouts. So in the gym, I had no clue what I was doing on those machines.
Okay.
So I do the coaching at home.
Is that something you considered branching out on? Is going out to like something like that to at least have a rotation? It seems like online consultation is something that's really exploding. So if you're familiar with those machines, I assume that you could probably make a workout plan for somebody, right?
Right. But with the Beachbody stuff, we do the home workouts. So, I've got like a home gym set up at my house and do weights and stuff like that there.
Okay.
So I've got like professional trainers on the TV telling me what to do.
Gotcha.
But I have considered like branching out and getting like a personal trainer certification so I could go to the gym.
Yeah, you could do either way because
right.
That's the funny thing about fitness is that not everything works for everyone.
Right.
And not everything piques everyone's attention. Like, for me, I like to lift weights. Other people like to do the fitness classes or cycling classes, whatever it may be. So it really just kind of broadens your horizons personally if you go out and get that certification. So yeah, I thought you could have lied to me because I thought you were taking your dad through a routine.
No, I won't lie. He might watch this and call me out on it.
So did you find benefit in doing that? Was it just different for you?
Yeah, when I run, I like to do other things to incorporate into my routine because running every day, that doesn't work out my arms. It doesn't help my core strength really. So I try to add in arm workouts and core things and yoga and stuff like that.
Have you tried kettlebells or anything like that, like in your home workouts, or is it just
a little bit? But it's more I use like dumbbells. Yeah. Okay.
Because kettlebells is something that I've got interested in, and I've seen a couple workouts, and I've thought about maybe getting some for the house, or they have them in like Planet Fitness too. So I guess I could just put it in my regimen there as well, make it work. But I'm always just trying to experiment and learn about more things that to add on because it gets boring doing the same thing. Like I said. So you mentioned running.
Yeah.
I tried to start again, and I'm not doing so well with it.
It's hard.
I'm old.
It's just hard.
Well, I did really well for the first couple of days, and I think I texted David, and I was like, David, I ran for like 2 days, and like I'm having hurt and pain in areas that I didn't even know existed anymore. So I just feel like I'm getting older. It's such a pounding to your body, especially when you're getting first getting started out. So do you have any recommendations? How did you work your way up? Did you just dive straight in? Because you're like younger than me, right?
Yeah, a little bit. So I started when I was young though. I started in like 8th grade. Okay, so
you've been running for a while. Oh, that's right. You did track, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, now I remember that.
So I did track and then branched out to cross country, and that's really kind of where I found like my abilities, I guess. So I've always been more of a long distance runner.
That makes sense.
That's just kind of second nature to me.
Me and your dad were always racing each other, even when I was young. I think I might be able to get him now, but I couldn't get him back in the day. So
I don't know. He
very
might
fast. He might. So yeah, that's really cool and something really hard to do, and I don't think people understand what it takes to get up and do that. So do you run every day?
No. So I got injured. It's been, I guess, about 5 years. So I'm kind of just now getting back into like the routine of it. I had calf surgery.
Oh gosh.
It's like bilateral compartment syndrome. So they had to go in and cut open both sides of both calves and like release the tissue.
Is that from like is that like a running injury?
Yeah, I had a knee surgery prior to that and got like overtrained, I guess, trying to come back to running.
Maybe overcompensating too a little bit.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Okay.
But I started trying to get into it too fast.
So
yeah, it's rare.
Release the calf.
The muscle. So the tissue was like enclosing the muscle, so it couldn't expand. So blood wasn't circulating past my knees. So I would just like get calf cramps and I couldn't stop them, but blood wasn't flowing like down to my feet and stuff.
Wow.
So they had to go in and like cut the tissue.
How long have you been running again now?
I started training probably back in the winters, really, when I started doing it regularly.
How did you jump back into that? Did you just try to do like, I'm going to do a 1/4 mile today, or
I was just like, I want to do a marathon, actually.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So then, I just kind of dove back
Straight
in.
into the
Yeah.
deep end.
And I kind of decided that was a bit much. So I've backed it down to a half that I'm doing in 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So, but I run like 2 or 3 days a week. That's kind of how I prevented myself from overtraining or getting tired of it. Because I really enjoy the weightlifting now. So running is kind of, I guess, on the back burner for me. But I do like 2 or 3 days a week, and that kind of keeps me interested.
How many days a week do you do the weightlifting part of it? Or
2 or 3. Okay. I try to keep like Sundays off. So I'll run like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then do weights like Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
So, and how many miles did you say half marathon was? I forgot.
13.
13.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So.
Wow. And your goals after this to do a full marathon?
Next year, yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Have you seen any of this like ultra marathons?
I don't know about that.
Okay. Do you know what I'm talking about though? Like the 100 mile and the 200 mile things?
No.
Yes. You need to I'll send you a link to Cameron Haynes' page.
Okay.
He does a lot of like fitness, like working out. He works out every day, and he does these ultra marathons like 200 miles and Moab 225 and things like that.
No.
It's insane.
No.
And the ladies actually do really well.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, they do. I think the girl that's won I think it's the Moab something. I think she's won it 2 years in a row, and she like smokes the competition.
That's crazy.
It's not even close. Like, I think she was like miles ahead of the guy that finished second.
Wow.
So for whatever reason, I guess the ultra marathons, the ladies seem to do a lot better than the males. I mean, so. Maybe
I'll have to look into that.
Maybe something to look into.
I don't know, that 200 miles is not appealing.
Oh no, I would. Yeah, the 23 miles or was it 26 miles?
26, yeah.
It seems just like I couldn't even possibly think about it. Like, I don't even know if I could do a mile right now. I was trying to work my way up. I started out with a half mile, but like I said, maybe it's running on pavement. I don't know. Do you run on pavement?
I kind of try to switch between like pavement, grass, and the treadmill, just to keep it, different and. Try not to.
What about like the track or anything? Have you?
Yeah, I mean, our track's not fantastic here, so I'm hoping when they build the new one.
What's the distance on that?
It's a quarter mile.
Oh wow!
So it takes 4 laps to even get a mile in it. So it's a lot of circles, know.
Yeah.
But I mean, the track's good, like just to switch it up or to do speed work. I still go there and do my sprints.
The way I started running again this spring was I started running hills, and I like that a lot more. I feel like I get a lot more out of it, and actually have a challenge in front of me because just getting up in the mornings and running down the road is just very difficult for me. So
right,
the trail run type of stuff, and that's kind of what the things like the Bigfoot 200 and things like that are like all.
Out like trails,
and mountains and things like that, and it's crazy. So I'll have to send you.
Send that to me. I'll look at it.
What about nutrition? What do you do for that?
So with the Beachbody programs that I do, they have their own nutrition plan.
Okay.
So I try to follow that. It's like portion control and just kind of trying to teach you.
Is it like keto or nothing like that? No restrictions like that.
Like based on your weight and like your activity levels and things like that, it breaks down how many of each food group you need per day.
And probably where you are leaning more towards like training for like a half marathon or marathon, you probably kind of don't have any restrictions at all, right?
I mean, I still try to eat like healthier. I don't go to McDonald's 6 days a week or anything like that. But I do have to, take in some extra calories. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know a lot about marathons or the runners or anything like that, but I just remember hearing like the pastas and
carb
breads
load,
and things
before
like
you
that.
run, yeah.
And when I tried, I just ended up going to sleep and not running. But so I wondered about that. And is there like a certification you can achieve through Beachbody for the?
They're coming out with ones. There wasn't before, so if you wanted to do that, you kind of had to go off, and do something else. But
so really, you could have almost a full package as far as the certifications go, and be able to have your own clientele or whatever it took. And like I said, I really believe that like online stuff is the way to go. As far as like I mentioned Cycle Bar earlier, they have online classes, and I've heard of men that don't really necessarily feel comfortable going there, and they have their own Peloton bike or whatever at their house, and then they watch it online or whatever. So it just seems like, especially since it's mainly geared towards home fitness, and that would be like the perfect arena for you to bring it all in.
Well, you can meet people from all over the world. So some of my closest friends now live in Florida, but we met through online fitness.
Right.
So even when I'm living in New Jersey, I can still be in connection with people here and helping them reach their fitness goals because we talk online.
That's awesome.
We have a whole Facebook group
right there
of a community, and we're all online together.
Makes perfect sense. I mean, I think that if you did not focus on that in today's day and age in any type of fitness program, then you would be selling yourself
You're missing out.
Short. So
it's a whole new possibility.
It's a whole new world, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you are currently teaching classes on Wednesdays now?
I do, 6 p.m. in the gym at Christview.
Okay. And how long what's the duration of that class?
It's an hour. So I teach from 6 to 7. It's really only about 50 minutes. Warm up, cool down included.
It's 5 minutes stretch time in the beginning and then 5-minute recovery time at the end. And so you said that you're going to be doing that, like I said, for a couple more months. Is that right?
Yeah, about 6 weeks, I think.
Okay. And then you said you're moving back to Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
But I think I might try to teach them online so that I can still, keep up with the people here.
Okay. And then are you going to be doing one when you get back to Jersey?
I don't know. I'm thinking about it because the base has, they teach some classes there too. So I think I'm going to reach out to them when I get back and see if I can continue teaching it.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I guess. And how long did you say you've lived there now?
We'll have a year left, but we've been there for 4.
4. Okay, mm-hmm. So you probably have got to network a little bit.
A little bit, but I kind of stay, off the base kind of stuff. I keep a job off base and kind of try to stay separate.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I do know, other wives and stuff like that. So I do have a small community there.
Well, I guess I was thinking more along logistics of you're here, people, you can get Christview and you can have your class there. And you're moving to a new area. It's more difficult to find a location to teach your classes and have a group of people to get the word out.
That's the hardest thing, is just getting the word out and people coming and trying it, because it's kind of scary just to go to a new class that you don't know anybody, you don't know what you're getting yourself into.
There's definitely a comfort part, when you're talking about Winchester and everybody knows everybody and you've got a group of friends and you can pull them in and do whatever. But you go to a new city, especially a bigger city. Do you actually what city do you live in?
It's right outside of Trenton, New Jersey.
Okay, so Trenton's a pretty big city.
Yeah, right? But the base is kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So
yeah, they tend to be that way. I was in Colorado. I was in Colorado Springs, and there's 3 or 4 bases there. It was crazy, and it's just I don't know. They just have their own little cities there. They've got their own housing.
They do, yeah. Own housing, grocery store, gas stations, yeah.
So I don't know that you really probably could do one on base and then one off base.
Yeah,
really.
I really could.
Yeah, especially. So the classes you teach now are free, correct?
Mm-hmm, they are.
Have you thought about charging for those, especially when you go back to Jersey?
Maybe. I started out charging for this, but with the summer, people were just so busy, it just wasn't making sense at the time. But
I kind of lean more towards the I guess it's the AT&T way of life. See, they got us cell phones and then they got us addicted to them, and the rates are really low a month, and then they keep charging them. So maybe you could get people addicted to them and then charge them.
Right. Well, you have to build the class. When you're only having 2 or 3 a week, it doesn't make sense to charge. But got to get people out, get them to come try it, and then
gotta build a group of people.
Yeah, you have to build a network first.
To kind of backtrack a little bit, I'm always very interested in supplementation. So we kind of talked a little bit about nutrition. Do you take any supplements or?
I use the Beachbody line. I'm a big Beachbody fan.
Okay.
If you haven't, they have their own performance line.
Okay.
I think it's the triathlons. They're actually using them as well. So. They've got a pre-workout, something to drink during your workout, post-workout, something to drink before bed. So I use the pre-workout and the post-workout, and then the hydrate for in between.
I can't imagine working out without pre-workout these days.
Neither. I love it.
So the Beachbody line, does it have a lot of caffeine, or is it stem-free, or?
They try to keep it as natural as they can. So they do pure sources, and then.
How many do you know how many milligrams of caffeine? The one I take has 260.
See, I don't know. We just talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I really don't remember.
I'm always interested to see what somebody that's more professional like you has to say about supplements, because I'm always afraid that I'm gonna fry my receptors and not be able to get so accustomed to caffeine where I can't ever have my adrenal glands produce and get what I'm trying to achieve.
Right. Well, and that's why I stick with Beachbody, because they have the researchers that go out and like get the most natural caffeine they can.
She's good. She's got the plugs.
You know, they do it so that it's as natural as it can be, and so I let them do the research, and then
I've definitely thought about backing mine down, and you know, I just got a new one, and it's one of those things where you have to really try something and see the way it works for you, because I've had so many people recommend stuff to me, and I tried, and then it just doesn't achieve what I'm looking for. Or
right.
The current one that I have just like really flushes my system, like it just doesn't work for me, and
right.
especially trying to gain weight, you don't want to end up losing 4 pounds because you end up peeing on all your water weight. You know, it's not a good thing. So I'm always interested to see what professionals have to say about nutrition or supplementation, and it always makes you feel better when somebody says, "Yeah, I have to have pre-workout too."
I love my pre-workout.
I do too. I mean, I'm decently motivated. I was a lot more motivated before I went to Colorado for a month. So
it's hard to get back into it.
I was seeing you at the gym, and then I actually got hurt. I was playing softball, of course, and pulled a muscle in my leg, and so it started to unravel there. And then I went to Colorado for a month, and I'm trying to get back in. It's tough.
It's hard. Tough. Yeah.
So, do you have any like wise words or recommendation of how somebody like myself that's trying to get back into it, or somebody that's taking a really long time off, like how do you motivate those people? How do you get them back into the program?
Just start slow. You can't expect to go back out there and do it 6 days a week like you were before. So, you know, just try to go like Tuesday, Thursday, 1 week, and, you know, do that for a couple weeks until you get used to it, and then add in another day. And just like slowly get back into it, because if you try to dive head first, you're gonna fail.
I'm kind of a moderation's for cowards, though. So.
And that's why you haven't got back into it.
Well, but I have. I've been. Let's see. I went probably 4 or 5 days this week. I was going 6 days before.
Right.
And I'll probably end up going the day after we wrap up here. But I'm trying really hard to get back into it. It's one of those things, and I think that's why I find your classes so intriguing, and I think it would be so beneficial for people is that you really could get a partner and then take that partner to there, you know.
Right.
So you could establish that, you know, somebody to go with before you even get to the class, and then the class expands, and you got more friends and more people.
Right, and that's why I would tell everybody, bring like your workout buddy, grab your best friend and come, because I know it's scary to walk into a class where you don't know anybody. Yeah. You know, it's hard to keep going back when, you know, you feel like you're the only person there that doesn't know somebody or something like that. So I say bring your best friend and come try it together. Like if you don't like it, you don't have to come back.
Yeah.
But, you know, bring somebody you know so that you're comfortable before you even come in the door.
Yeah, and I think that there's great value in that, but at the same time, at some point you have to motivate the individual too. You have to find their individual fire, because if you're going for somebody else or going for a group,
right.
And so I'd say that's you have to have a lot of balance as an instructor.
You do.
I guess.
One, you have to remember why you're doing it. What are your goals? You know, are you here to lose 10 pounds? Are you here to get a 6-pack? You know, are you just trying to get healthy? Like, you have to remember why you're actually doing it. You have to be, so essentially you have to know all the knowledge yourself. You have to put it into play as an instructor. You have to help people with nutrition. You have to help people with what they're doing on their off days. And then you probably have to become somewhat of a mentor too, right? Yeah,
and try to. So it's a complicated gig,
but you know, I love it when people, you know, have lost 10 pounds and can fit into jeans that they thought they'd never wear again and stuff like that. You know, it's all worth it
for sure. So kind of branching off this a little bit to talk about something that I noticed on your page. I saw that you actually attended a UFC recently.
Yeah, so we just got back from International Fight Week in Las Vegas.
What number was that?
206.
Okay, who was the
main fight was Daniel Cormier and Steve
you actually did, and you went to that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
So they do like a whole weekend. So it started, I think, on Tuesday because of the 4th of July, but it's like a Wednesday to Saturday. Yeah.
It's always in Vegas.
So
you got to meet quite a few people too,
right? So they have a fan expo on Friday and Saturday, I think. So they'll have like 10 or 12 people up there doing autographs. You can take pictures. You know, you get like 20 seconds or so with each fighter. But I actually entered a contest, and my dad and I got to go like backstage and like actually meet the fighters, like one-on-one, take pictures.
Very cool.
We got to go in the octagon.
Who did you get to? I saw the pictures inside the octagon.
We got to meet Dana White, which was part of that thing.
How much time did you get with him?
Oh, we were with him for probably 10 or 15 minutes as like a whole group. There was like 15 of us.
And that's like an hour or two in normal people time.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy.
He's so busy.
Yeah. So I mean, it was the day before the main card. So he took 15 minutes out of his day to talk to all of us. It was awesome.
How many people were there?
And for a fight week?
No, for that individual contest part.
I think they picked like 7 of us, so like 4. So you got to bring like a guest, so like time. 14 people. Yeah. But Daniel Cormier came over and took a picture with us. We got to go in the octagon with Dana White. He was so nice. Yeah. I mean, he autographed a girl's like belt for her, and
I saw that you took a picture with Stephen Thompson.
Yes, I was. You don't like Wonder Boy? Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to end right here. That's it.
So who else did you get to meet? We'll just get by him.
Oh my gosh, I could talk about him for days. Let's see, Joseph Benavidez and his wife Megan. They stopped by.
Was he a small guy? Did he
yes,
seem small?
Yes, they're both small, but they're so cute. Valentina Shevchenko came through. Chris Weidman.
I love Chris Weidman.
How can you not like Wonder Boy? They're like in-laws.
I'm not a fan of them.
Okay.
I don't like how the karate style translates to the UFC.
Okay.
And so I mean he's definitely fantastic at what he does.
Phenomenal.
But I have people that I like and then I attach myself to, and then.
Oh, I'm the same way. Yeah.
And if their current style doesn't really translate to something, because I mean I trained for a long time, I fought a couple times as well. So if their style doesn't translate to something that I like that's close to my heart, it just kind of.
It's hard to get interested.
Yeah, but and then the Tyron Woodley fight both of those fights didn't necessarily do anything for either one of their stocks, so that was kind of hard to sit through. But I love Valentina Shevchenko.
Yep, she stopped by. She was awesome. Nice. John Anik that does like the commentating. Yeah,
Shevchenko's about to fight for the belt.
She is, yes. September 8th, I think. So
and I think Weidman just got another fight too. I haven't seen anything about Wonder Boy, so
he'll probably be the first of the year.
Yeah, a lot of those people are kind of.
It seemed to be a lot of people that weren't fighting anytime
right.
soon.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you're in a training camp, it's hard to get out to Vegas.
And they're
for
big
5
names.
days.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's big names. So anybody else? I'm sorry to
no, you're fine.
Derail it.
Like Karate Hottie was there. We actually did meet her. She came through. Curtis Razor Blades. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's kind of newer.
Heavyweight.
Who else was up there? Matt Hughes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
He actually refereed my last fight, and I got beat up, so it was really cool. It was really cool to have him save my life in that fight. So
we saw Chuck Liddell. Yeah.
See, I've been watching since '98, and I actually got to go to. They have fan expos at every event.
Not to that. Yeah. No.
And so when I went, I actually got to meet Forrest Griffin and Cain Velasquez before Cain Velasquez was anything. And Forrest Griffin was a giant dude. And somehow or another, we got into this, I can't remember. It's a website that's no longer available or no longer online. It's just like an MMA website that went away. But they had a party. I don't know how we found out about it. I don't know how we got into it. But I got into it, and like Rampage was there, Kenny Florian was there. I feel like Stephen Bonner might have been there. Just so many people I was around, and then I came out, and it was right after I guess Forrest and Rampage have fought, and Forrest stopped me on the street, and he's like, "Hey, is Rampage down there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he's down there."
Oh my gosh.
So it was surreal to be a part of that, because you watch these people,
right?
And you are actually beside it, and like you watch them on TV, and some of them you're like, "Oh, that's a pretty big guy," and then you get next to them in real life, and you're like, they're tiny. And then you see like a guy like Forrest Griffin, you're like, dude, don't even stand next to me.
Oh yeah, we took a picture with Cormier, and I don't even think I came up to like his armpit. Like,
really?
Yeah,
see,
I mean,
Cormier's
he looks
only like 5'11".
He looks so small, and then you stand next to him, and you're like, oh, you're actually like bigger in person.
So I'll tell you the story of how I got to see the Cormier fight, and then I'll let you tell the story about actually being at the event. So I was on work trip. We went out to eat, and I was the designated driver of the evening, and so I was just basically a slave to everybody, taking them wherever they wanted to go. And so there's this giant club right next to the Rocky Stadium, and I was so unexcited about going to this place. I did not want anything to do with it. And so we get in line to go through the bouncers, give our IDs and stuff, and I look behind the bar, and I see they had the fights on, so I was like, oh, sweet. It just so happened to be at the exact moment that Cormier and Stipe, the fight started. And so I actually got to go inside and watch the entirety of the fight, which it didn't last very long.
Yeah.
But it was awesome because I think Cormier is such a good guy, and I really hate the way that everything went down with John Jones, and it actually ended up making my night because we have to watch it on a big screen. I didn't even know what was going on probably because I was working 12-hour days, 6 days a week, and I was just kind of in a stupor. But it was really cool to see that and to have that moment. So I can't even imagine being there. So
it was awesome. So I'm a Cormier fan, and I love Stipe too. But I was like, if Cormier wins the second belt, like that's awesome to see in person. He's only the second person to do that in the UFC. I mean, I think everybody was doubting him. I don't think they thought he could come up to heavyweight and do it. And I was like,
right. I actually thought that I never thought he would finish him with strikes, but I thought that there was probably a really good chance that he could beat Stipe by decision.
And I thought if it went to the ground.
Well, yeah.
He's got the wrestling background.
I thought that he would probably take him down and end up, pounding on him. I didn't think he could submit him, or I didn't think he could finish him. I thought it would just end up being a decision.
Right.
So I was shocked by the outcome.
I was
and the
not.
ending. So.
Everybody around us was shocked, and my dad was like, "She said it." And I was like, "I told you guys, Cormier's awesome."
Yeah, and it was so cool to see that, and I just hate the John Jones thing. If you're a Cormier fan, just to have that on there, it's sickening to.
I think he's past it though. I think that's what.
I think he has to be. You
can't.
I think if he doted on it would drive him crazy.
Yeah, you can't get hung up on that.
What other? I didn't get to see any other fights. So was there any other fights that stood out on that card to you?
Oh my gosh, I've watched so many since then.
But just that one. Just being there. Was there anything that stood out other than the Cormier fight?
Well, see, I go to them all the time.
Okay.
If they're near me, I go. Yeah, that was probably my 4th or 5th live fight because they have them at Madison Square Garden. So my husband and I have gone up there. I think twice. We've gone to Long Island.
Which ones did you go to? Did you go to the Conor Eddie Alvarez one?
No, we did not. We went to the one. It was Dillashaw and Garbrandt.
Okay, the first one.
And the second one. We went to the first one. Actually, we saw. No.
The second one was in California.
Okay, so we went to the first one. Yep. We saw Cody win the belt in Vegas 2 years ago.
Okay.
Because we went to Ronda's last fight. Don't even.
Not a Ronda.
Ronda's
fan.
my girl. We went. It was her last fight, unfortunately.
Not a Ronda fan.
Well, we went to Vegas for her last fight.
So this is the last time me and Tiffany are going to talk.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll not be back.
And I've been to different fights for different venues and stuff like that, but my UFC experience was not good because I actually went to the one in Atlanta when I went to the expo, and that was Chuck Liddell and Rashad Evans, and Chuck Liddell got knocked out, and so
that's just devastating.
I haven't been able to go back since. I haven't even really wanted to go back since.
It's so hard. I didn't even want to leave the arena after Ronda lost. I told my husband going in, I was like, if she loses, we cannot leave. I'm not going to be okay. And I'm just sitting there. I was so devastated.
As a fan, it's hard to imagine sometimes. But did you not at least have that thought in your mind?
Oh, I did. I absolutely did. After she lost to Holly, I was like, it's gonna be hard to come back, and especially versus somebody like Amanda Nunes. So I knew what I had in my head. I was like, she's got to come back and win.
I was pretty certain that she was gonna lose, but the moment that I knew Ronda was gonna lose is when she came out and she tried to put on the same demeanor that she had before. The world stopper, the stone face, really tough. I knew she was going to lose because you just can't necessarily lose the way that she did and try to continue with that attitude and continue with that mindset. It just doesn't work. You have to kind of evolve, and I don't think it's something that she was able to evolve past, and I think it's unfortunate, but it happens a lot, and especially in the UFC, especially with the women's division. She will always be to me the Hoist Gracie of the women's division.
Oh yeah, she's the one that brought the women to the UFC.
Right, they wouldn't have been there without her. And I don't personally like her attitude. I'm sure, and it could just be her character.
Right.
People want to say that the fighters don't have characters, but a lot of these people are really good, soft-spoken people, and to sell fights, they have to put on this facade, this character to do things, and I just didn't like the way she portrayed it. And she was very good at what she did. It's never going to change, but I think the sport moved past her. You got Amanda Nunes now, which is fighting Cyborg now, which is very interesting.
I saw that.
And you got Shevchenko, who's the full package, and I don't think she ever evolved to that. I don't know if she was capable of it, but Her, obviously she's Hall of Famer now. So did you get to?
Yes, that's why I was so drawn to Fight Week this year. I mean, I wanted to go to Fight Week, but
I thought that's
we went to the Hall of Fame ceremony, and she's the first woman to ever be inducted to the UFC Hall of Fame.
Did they do like a Q&A?
No, they didn't.
Okay.
So it's only about an hour.
But they didn't have anybody Q&A?
They all gave speeches after they were done, but nobody really asked them questions.
Okay. Because I know a lot of times at those expos and fight weeks, they actually have people come and do Q&As.
I think they did more like the fan expo, but not like the Hall of Fame ceremony. So it's like a whole weekend. It's like the Hall of Fame's Thursday, the Ultimate Fighter finale's Friday, like UFC 206 is Saturday, and then like during the day you've got the expo.
Is there someone that is kind of on your radar that might have a fight coming up that you're looking forward to?
I don't know. I mean, I watch them anytime they're on. We were just up till midnight last night watching Fight Night. So, I mean, I've certainly got like a whole pool of fighters that I told you I love Wonder Boy. Ronda doesn't fight anymore, so I don't know. I don't really have a favorite like. Are you
such a Ronda fan that you had to branch off to WWE?
I try, but I don't know. I just can't get into the. I mean, I keep up with her in the, but as a whole, I just can't.
I think the WWE is much more fitting for her, especially at this stage.
Yeah, she did what she set out to do with the UFC. I feel like she brought it, to the world's radar.
Right.
And she had a very good career.
Because really, other than like Cyborg versus Carano was the first women's fight that I watched, and the first one I was actually genuinely interested in, and it really kind of fell to the wayside until she emerged. And so, you're right. She did exactly, I guess, what.
That's what she wanted to do.
Needed.
Yeah, she brought it. Now she wanted to leave it at a place where she felt like they didn't need her anymore. And I think that she did. There's now 4 women's divisions. They don't need her, so she can go have fun in the WWE.
There's some very, very talented ladies now, and And I personally can't wait for Cyborg versus Nunez.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a really good fight because in their weight classes, I don't feel like anybody stylistically matches up to them as well as they will with each other.
Yeah, and. They've been running so low on Cyborg opponents that they've just been giving her kind of people that
anybody
really
I mean
she beat up that soccer mom really bad. I can't remember that lady's name, but it was bad.
Yeah.
You said you've been watching it for about 4 years now?
Yeah. I mean, when Ronda got like really big,
okay,
my dad and brother came up to visit me in New Jersey. And she was fighting that night. Like, you gotta see this lady. She's awesome. She's just like running through everybody. And I was like, what are you talking about? Because I used to try to watch it with my dad, and I couldn't get past the blood. Their eyebrows are gashed open, they're bleeding everywhere, and I'm like, this is disgusting. So they're like, this lady, you've got to see her. And I think she ended that fight in like 14 seconds or something. I was like,
all of her fights were very fast.
So I was hooked because after that they were talking about like Conor McGregor, and I'm like, what are you talking about? So we go watch that, and and then I'm just like, you start seeing people on like cards, and you're like, oh, I've watched them before. Let's see how they do tonight, and now here I am.
See, I told you I've been watching for a very long time, and the part that I'm having a hard time getting over is that there's just so many cards now, and it seems like you're just so saturated with it. And I watched some ones last night too, and what I left thinking is like, okay, well, what's next for these guys? Because they put out so many fight nights that you get like Gaethje versus Vic and 7 versus 10. It's like neither one of these guys are going to get a title shot. What do you do with them next? And so that's kind of where I found myself. It just seems like it's a little bit oversaturated. And I feel like that they need somebody like Conor or the Nunez versus Cyborg fight because the numbers are so far down right now. And there's not really a lot of good rivalries or stars.
Right.
And, Cormier versus Brock could be giant. I don't really personally like that fight because I like both of them. And
see, I'm not excited about Brock. I get that it's going to be a big fight, and that's going to be coming up because Cormier's retiring in March.
Yeah.
So that's
and I don't know
on the radar.
I don't know if that fight will happen. I don't know if it'll be that fight or he'll fight Stipe again.
Well, he said if Brock wasn't clean, he was going back to Stipe. Right. So Brock's got to do his part.
Here's the thing, though. None of them are clean. I mean, Cormier may be clean, but the sport and USADA just gives a false sense of security because there's always somebody else out there like Belko that's finding a way to get steroids in people.
Right.
Or they're finding a way to cycle them off. Like, Brock re-entered testing and he didn't do it for a certain amount of time, and then all of a sudden he was tested again. he ended up getting popped for like I think it was estrogen blocker. So obviously he'd probably been on cycle before, but I think that the cleanliness of the sports it's such a hard thing to face. But Brock's a huge name. It's unfortunate that Brock went to the WWE and didn't come straight to the UFC. If he did, then it could have been.
He only wrestles like once every 3 months.
Yeah, and he makes like a ridiculous amount of money.
He comes out and just destroys stuff, and that's it.
He breaks a couple tables and yells a lot. But to me, I guess the Brock Cormier fight is a huge payday for Cormier. But as far as like an actual fan, like I would much rather him fight Jones again or fight, Stipe.
I would too, but I get the payday before you retire.
Yeah, But
I get it. I would much rather see a rematch with Stipe.
It's gonna suck, yeah, for sure, because it's gonna suck if Brock catches him and finishes him or something like that.
Well, because I think everybody's question is what happens to the division after that, because how long is Brock gonna fight?
And I think that it's gonna be something that happens a lot more, kind of like GSP. I mean, if anybody
we were there for that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we were in New York when he came back.
I lost my voice that night because I love GSP. I was screaming like a little girl because I actually said I thought he would win by submission. I saw what transpired. I didn't see him necessarily knocking him down with the left hook, but I saw him getting Bisping's back and being able to finish him. But I think that it's something that's going to happen a lot more. Like with Conor coming back, I think win or lose, I don't really know what Conor does next.
And somebody said they think if he loses, he's done. And see, as a Conor fan, for me, that kind of breaks my heart. But
I think it's a terrible matchup. I think it's a terrifying matchup, and I mean, to come straight in
and go straight to Khabib.
Like a year
see, I'm not a fan of Khabib.
Oh.
We saw, I guess it was in New York a couple months ago. We watched that Al Quinta fight.
Yeah.
And, I just wasn't impressed with Khabib that night. That's somebody you should have gone out and probably finished like in the first round, honestly.
Well,
and you let it go on.
Quinta's tough dude, but I've never been that impressed with Khabib. I mean, he's not somebody that I like to watch.
Me either. And especially that night, like I said, you should have gone in there and finished Quinta.
It was hard enough
minutes.
for me to watch Conor lose to Mayweather, and I just don't. I don't want to see Khabib take him down and pound on him. I just don't want to see that. So. I don't know. I don't know what's next for the UFC. That's what scares me about it, because the longevity of the sport. Something that. See, you said you don't watch wrestling?
No.
So what I always go back to is the mid-'90s when you had the WWE and the WCW, and WWE started to fail a little bit because WCW took all of their household brand name people that were getting older, and they made big fights or big wrestling matches, and they made a lot of money, and they got a lot of viewership. And I think that's kind of where Bellator is doing a little bit better than the UFC right now, because they've taken all those guys that were kind of castaways, and they're building their own stars on top of it. And so Bellator, to me, because they put on less shows, most of the time the fights are actually more compelling and meaningful than the UFC's. Now, the UFC obviously has the marquee stars and Cormier and Conor and stuff like that, but I don't know what the future of the UFC is, and it kind of scares me a little bit.
I think you've got to promote more of those up-and-comer fights, because that's who's going to be around for the long run. Like you promoted Ronda, what did she start in, like 2013? And she just left you the sport in 2017. So you've got 4 years, but you've got to find them early.
The problem with it is that there's a lot of really talented people, but there's not a lot of younger guys that have the it factor, like Conor or Ronda or Brock or John Jones. There's not a lot of polarizing characters, and I think that's really where I don't know how you get over it. I really don't.
Well, I think I saw what they're doing Ultimate Fighter. They're only moving it to one season a year. I think that's where you get your young guys.
A part of it, but as a guy that watched Ultimate Fighter 1, I'm sick of the Ultimate Fighter. I can't even watch it anymore.
I love it.
And I think that that's something that the UFC has a problem with, because me and my friends used to get together and watch every UFC. David can attest to it. And we barely watch maybe 2 or 3 a year now. And so they're kind of creating new fans like yourself, but then they're kind of losing the older ones like myself, because they're just, if you get a heavyweight title fight, very rarely do you have a co-main event that's meaningful. And sometimes they'll have so many injuries on a card that they just end up having all these fillers in it. And it's like, I'm not going to pay $59.95 or whatever, $65.95 for that card.
A card that fell apart.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened to the fight we went in New York. The whole thing happened with Conor, and cards were getting pulled left and right.
Yeah,
and
I forgot about that.
You know,
I forgot about that. So yeah, that
why am I paying to come to this fight? I just paid $200 for us to come, and now we've lost 3 fights off this card.
That's hard. That's hard to swallow. And I don't know how they get around it. And I actually saw Chael Sonnen do a podcast on it recently, talking about the fact that boxing doesn't have this happen. Boxing,
right.
If you have a main event set, there's very rarely an injury or somebody pulling out at the last minute or a weight cut issue.
Right. Well, the UFC's cracking down on the weight cut because that became a huge issue just recently.
It's such a hard thing to do, though, in the format that they have. I think it's ONE FC actually does like a thing where they test the fighters throughout their camp, and that may be the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Because somebody like Khabib, he's just losing so much weight, and it's caused 2 or 3 issues now.
Right. It's hard to drop 20 pounds. They're
calling Conor and Khabib the fight of the century. Well, what happens if the day before Khabib can't make weight?
Right.
What do you do? And I think that's the scariest thing that the UFC has is like, how do we consistently put on not good but great cards and find new stars? And I don't know how they do it. I really don't. I've thought about it. All of their stars are retiring. Vitor Belfort just got knocked into oblivion, and he's retired now. And all these people that I grew up watching, it's just really hard for a long-term fan like myself to really grasp onto it. Where they have Bellator, you got Fedor and Chael Sonnen fight. Now, is it the most competitive fight, or are these guys going to translate to the UFC? No, but it's entertaining, and that's definitely a big part of it. So.
See, I still find the UFC entertaining, but maybe because it
so fresh.
I came in newer. Yeah. I've only been watching for 4 years, so, I came in when Conor's, I guess at his prime, if you want to call it that. This is how old I am.
I have UFC 1 on videotape. And I have stacks and stacks of UFC DVDs. At one point in time, UFC 40 was the first one I actually got to watch on pay-per-view. All the other ones I rented on DVD, it wasn't even DVD, it was on videotape. So that's how long I've been watching. So it's really hard for me to get excited about stuff. I do definitely want to see Conor versus Khabib. I definitely want to see Nunez versus Cyborg, that's a big deal to me because I didn't necessarily get into a lot of the women's MMA stuff.
It's hard.
Shevchenko and Cyborg are the 2 draws for me. Nunez,
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of hers, and I think that we talked about earlier. The whole facade they put on. I think it's hers. I just don't. I don't like the attitude or whatever she puts off.
When you don't speak English, it's really hard. To draw.
It's hard to connect to them. When you have to have a translator, go back and forth. But yeah, I don't know. It's her facade for me. But
all right, so this is the last question I'll ask you about it. If you could have a dream fight right now, who would it be? What would it be? What would your dream pay-per-view fight?
I don't know. I'd love to see Ronda back, but I don't know who against. You know this. I'm a Ronda fan. I will say that through and through.
Bring Misha back. Bring Gina Carano. That would be.
See, but I feel like she did the Misha thing. That's not really.
Well, Gina Carano would be really cool.
I never watched her.
You never watched her?
No.
So she's probably the first person that actually brought eyes into it. Not to the scale that Ronda did.
Right.
But Gina, and now she does the acting stuff. She was in Deadpool and things like that. So
okay.
Yeah, that would be a cool fight. But I don't know who they would bring Ronda against.
See, and that's it. If I could just see Ronda win, that would be. Yeah. I'd love to see her just go out on top, win. Yeah,
I understand that. And to be honest with you, as much as I don't like Ronda, it was sad to watch her go out that way, and it's sad to watch so many fighters go out that way.
Right.
Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture, Vitor Belfort.
Somebody just did last night, Jake Ellenberger.
Yeah, that was really sad because he was.
It's like a hometown crowd, and he lost.
He was such a for a period of time, he was just destroying everybody in the division. And, you have to wonder about USADA coming through and the differences that it made in so many people. And, maybe that was it, or maybe he just got to a point where his chin just couldn't take it anymore.
Well, I think that's the thing, especially where we're talking the different ages. There's only a certain age I think you can do that till. It's such a hard sport. Maybe. You're taking so many punches. So the people you were watching, you can't fight till you're, you can't do that till you're 60.
Maybe.
There's only a short-lived time period you can get punched in the head. I think it depends
on your genetics. Randy Couture didn't even start fighting until he was 36. You got guys like Yoel Romero fighting in their 40s.
Right.
Everybody on the Bellator roster is over 40. So maybe, and then again, sometimes age just doesn't have any, say in it. It's more of the head trauma, like I said. And it was sad to watch him go out that way. And he wasn't even on the scale of like Chuck Liddell.
Right.
Chuck Liddell's supposed to be coming back to fight Tito later this year.
I keep seeing stuff about that.
I don't know if it'll happen or not.
I'll watch it if it does. But.
Absolutely. But I think that he has a lot of medical hurdles to clear because I think that it's a big
risk.
Yeah, there's a lot of red tape for somebody that got knocked out as many times and now is 50 years old. So
right.
But I don't know what my dream matchup would be. I would like to see.
You should have told me. I could have thought about this. I don't know.
I didn't even think of it till just now. I would like to see Fedor go out on top. Fedor is probably my favorite fighter of all time. You're probably not even that familiar with him.
No, I saw him fight in New York a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Which one was that?
Wanderlei Silva.
Oh, that was Chael Sonnen fight Vanderlei.
Oh, okay.
So that was probably when he fought Mitrione and he got knocked out. Probably.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so that's depressing. See,
I'm sorry.
But he was just such a destroyer for so many years, and he gets up to that age of 40, and he's not as fast as he was, and things like that. I would like to see him go out on top, and I don't know if it's possible. I think he can beat Chael, but then he's going to fight the winner of Ryan Bader and Matt Mitrione.
Right.
And that's going to be tough. So.
Well, it's hard when you're 40 and you're trying to fight, 26-year-olds.
Oh,
They're just going to be faster and stronger.
The good thing about that is I think Bader is probably the youngest one left because Chael Sonnen's almost 40, Matt Mitrione's almost 40, and Ryan Bader's probably 35. So
I really like him.
You like Bader?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he went over to Bellator and was able to win the world title.
Right.
And, it's a scary time for Bellator because guys like Michael Chandler could jump ship to the UFC very easily. Eddie
you see a lot going from the UFC to Bellator.
Yeah, and I think the main reason is because of the sponsorship. I think that Reebok was kind of a bad deal for the fighters, and I think that Bellator allows for so much more leeway in the sponsorship. I mean, they make so much more money for that. And,
right.
You don't have the pay-per-view money of the UFC, but a lot of times that doesn't translate to the bottom tier guys.
Right.
So.
And that's the thing. If you're the main card, you're getting paid, but the undercards, they don't. They don't get that much. No. So you can't blame them for going and making more money somewhere else.
And you see some of the fight paychecks of guys that have been around for a very long time. It's sad, especially in the UFC. And maybe that's one of the problems the UFC has. Maybe they don't motivate their people enough anymore. I don't know, but. Yeah. I'm very interested to see. I feel like it's a pivotal time in MMA. I think that Bellator can really take a lot of the UFC's viewership, and I feel like that the UFC is going to have to do something.
They just did that deal with ESPN, so I think they're hoping that's going to bring it to more viewers.
Yeah, I think it definitely will help, but if you bring it to more viewers and you don't have stars, then I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you get to that next level. So I'm interested to see how it all plays out. And a lot of the ESPN stuff, from what I've read, I think you're going to have to actually stream it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
that'll be a game changer.
Yeah, it's like a lot of like the cards that were on last night will probably be streaming.
Okay.
So you'll have to have ESPN app or whatever it may be,
right.
And you might even have to pay for some of that stuff. So.
Okay. See, that's the easy thing now is it's on Fox Sports 1.
Yeah, or Big Fox, or even Fox Sports 2. I watched the prelims a little bit of it on it last night, and so it's pretty much at your fingertips. But if they do the ESPN app, I'm not sure if that'll translate the full UFC catalog because now they have all this stuff, and I can't remember what they Fight Pass.
Yes.
So you have it all at your fingertips. All the Pride. Back in the day, all the UFCs.
Everything's in the Fight Pass.
So I'm not sure if that'll be the same for ESPN or not.
Yeah,
and I think there's a lot left to be. And they may not. They may wait until they're out of their Fox, whatever contract to make that stuff public. So.
Right.
You got any questions about some of the stuff we talked about, Dave? You've been very good.
No. Yeah.
So. I really appreciate it. Great conversations about a lot of things. I'm sorry that I don't like Rhonda.
Oh, that's okay.
But I did enjoy the rest of all of our conversation. Do you want to tell people where to find you on social media?
Let's see. On my Facebook, my personal page is Tiffany Toller Bailey, or my fitness page is Tiffany Bailey.
Do I follow that one?
I don't know.
Oh man,
it should be linked to my personal page, but it's Tiffany Bailey Fitness. I think is like. Facebook.com Tiffany Bailey Fitness, and I'm on Instagram under Tiffany Bailey as well. Okay. Are you going to do, is the Instagram page, is that like personal or is it more? It's a personal page, and I share, my life and my fitness stuff. Okay. So it's a little bit of everything. I saw you kind of branch out and doing some like Instagram lives or some. Yeah, I try to do that. People like different things. For sure. So. And you also did, what was it, your stories. You have those updated. The Instagram stories. Yeah, I'm trying to do that more, just like get the conversation, tell people about my class instead of just like reading a post. They just scroll by a picture or whatever.
Have you got any interaction from that? Have you had people reach out to you from the stories?
People do reach out from the stories. A couple weeks ago I shared my husband's family did a vegan brownie bake-off.
I saw that.
So, I had people reaching out like, was it good? Like, what stuff did you use? How do you make it vegan? That kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think sharing more on like the Instagram stories, kind of getting like different people.
I feel like Instagram is very popular now. It's probably more so than Facebook.
I think so too. I think it's like the younger generation is moving to Instagram more.
I still get more. It seems like I still get more interaction on Facebook, but Instagram's kind of closing the gap.
I still like both.
I do too.
I try to share everything on both because you've got different, people that see different
platforms,
things. Yeah.
Different things.
Instagram doesn't seem as negative too. Like it's harder for people to be just broadcast your negative thoughts on Instagram. Post to Facebook.
I absolutely agree.
About that too. Yeah.
See, like Instagram, if I like your pictures, whenever you post something, it's going to put it at the top of my feed, and I'm not sure that Facebook does that.
No, Instagram, mine still comes up by time.
Right. No, Facebook is the one. If you like it comes up more.
I think if you think about it though, and look into it, if you look at the times on Instagram, if you like somebody's pictures a lot, they're going to go to the top of your timeline, regardless if it's newer or older. Because I've noticed that online. And I actually find it beneficial because I have certain people that I follow that I enjoy looking at their stuff more so than other people.
Yeah, you're probably on a different threshold because I've only got like 100 and something followers, so I mean it's probably different. Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna put me on a different threshold for having 700 followers.
I don't know.
Maybe if I bust that 1,000, then I'll get like the VIP club or something.
Oh, everybody go follow him. He's got to hit 1,000.
Yeah, well, I think I'm maxed out on people. They're tired of me. So
yeah.
But yeah, Facebook. It seems to be harder to find people and find information because I kind of went through a thing where I was trying to get people into the pages, and so I added everyone, and so now it's just kind of like a
well, it's
cluster.
hard, and like I said, they changed the algorithm, so if I like your stuff's going to come up, so I'm not going to see his anymore,
Right.
I'm not going to see it to like it to get it back in my timeline.
See, even I still go to the most recent on Facebook, and so you don't have that option on Instagram. On Facebook you can either do just the timeline, which is like you said, the algorithm of the people that you like more. You can do the most recent, and then it's supposed to put it in like
the time order.
Yeah. And so at least you can do that on Facebook. It would be nice if Instagram you could do that as well.
Mine does. It might be because you have an Android.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You blame everything on Android.
Yeah.
So.
See, I'm an iPhone user, so I'm with you.
Mine goes like time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe you should switch to the iPhone.
No, I've had the Android for a while now. I'm comfortable with it. I'm set in my ways. I really enjoy it. Even though I do think that there's something to having iPhone to iPhone, especially if your family members have it. But see, I have a work iPhone, so
yeah,
I've got that one.
Really yeah.
I've got the best of both worlds. So what about YouTube page? Have you thought about doing that?
I don't know. I don't really love being in front of cameras. I'm not gonna lie.
It wasn't too bad today.
No, it wasn't at all.
Okay,
I always get so nervous.
I could tell you were nervous in the beginning. I was actually nervous.
Oh my god.
Because I was like, I don't know what to ask. I want to make sure that I ask.
I told you I'm an open book, but yeah.
I think that the more that you get in front of them and stuff like that, and especially what you're doing, I think a YouTube page would be very helpful for you because you can determine what you put on there and
right.
If you have something, thoughts on nutrition, thoughts on supplements, new workout, whatever it may be, that's yours and you own it. And if it gets to a certain point where you kind of blow up, then they're going to have to give you money for your ideas and stuff like that. So I think it should be something you kind of look into. We try to, everybody that comes on here, we try to boost their social media, and you seem to be probably about the best of the people we've had on as far as keeping up with your pages.
I try. But, it's hard. You don't want to, overshare with people. I don't want to put, so much in front of their face that they get tired of seeing my stuff. I try to make sure that it's valuable.
It's a balance. And I run through stages where I don't even want to share anything.
Right.
I'm like, I'm tired of y'all. And so, with having the Double Axis podcast page and my personal page, it's hard to
keep up with everything, because if I share it on Facebook, I don't want the same people to see the same stuff on Instagram. They're going to get tired of seeing my posts 2 and 3 times if they follow all of my pages.
Yeah.
So you got to find that balance between
And and it's so cool the way that Instagram's linked with Facebook, because if I have a story, I can share it straight to Facebook, or I can share it. I use everything through Instagram. I post a picture on Instagram, share it straight to Facebook, have everything linked up.
See, that's what I need to go back to doing, because I did it first and then I de-linked them.
Oh, you de-linked them?
Yeah.
See, I have to. There's no way I could keep up with both of them.
Well, it'd be so much easier if I did, because when I make a video on Instagram, then I have to go and try to make the same video for Facebook. So I feel like I'm doing double the work. I got to link it back up.
It's so much easier just to link them and to share them straight to Facebook. It just makes everything in life so much easier. And then if you have the YouTube, then you can share it directly to those pages as well. Facebook has everything a little bit better with like YouTube, because you actually can share it to where they just click on the video, but with like Instagram, you have to put a link in there. And
it's messy. Yeah,
it's a little bit more annoying. It's harder to get people to click on it. I found, at least.
Well, I feel it's harder to even share the links on Instagram. You know, they're like,
you gotta put them in your bio and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a mess. But I feel like there's probably somebody working on that right now.
I'm sure there is.
But it also makes them unique to Facebook, and since they're all owned by the same company now, then they probably want a little bit of uniqueness to each individual platform, because people are drawn to whatever it may be and certain things. So, well, I really appreciate you being on.
Thanks for having me.
I can't wait to see where all of your fitness stuff goes in the future. Yeah. I can't wait to be exhausted by watching you run your marathons and seeing how that goes. And then maybe the next time you're in, maybe we can watch UFC together, and I can trash talk, Thompson or whoever. Maybe.
I don't know about that.
But I really appreciate it, and we appreciate you all for tuning in. Make sure that you go to the Double Axis podcast page on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, and we will be releasing this podcast and all subsequent ones on those platforms. And we really appreciate you once again. Dave, you got anything else, man? I'm giving you the last word.
No, nothing
You've been
else.
extremely
Football's coming back. I'm excited for that.
You like football fan?
A little bit. I don't know. It's hard for me to get into.
Yeah.
Well, at least we got the UFC in common.
We do.
But Dave, your hat's matching your phone case and everything.
Yeah.
We got to get you a camera back there, man. Because people are just missing out on something.
I know. I feel like he does facial expressions and stuff like that, and you don't even get to see it.
Sometimes it's distracting though, because sometimes you'll say something, you'll see him go like this, and you're like, "You're just messing with me, aren't you?" But we appreciate everyone, and we'll see you the next go round.